What kind of doodling are you referring to?
Well, I'm referring to like doodling anytime.
Anytime? I think it's a great hobby. I think that it helps people think. They have found that people who doodle ideas and doodle shapes and designs are actually processing through that way of doing things. And in class, even when I'm in meetings, I will take notes and I will doodle those notes as well. So I do it quite a bit, even in meetings.
How do you feel about the people who doodle?
Depending on the scenario, I mean, if they're in class and they're taking notes and doodling at the same time, I think that's all appropriate. Um, it depends on what the instructor is hoping for during the class time. For me personally, since it's an art class, I got no problem with it. If you're doodling ideas to get to where you need to do for the assignment I've assigned, then we're good.
Okay. If you doodle, what do you doodle the most?
Line designs. I just do lines and shapes and just let the line and shape flow into the next idea. Depending on the conversation that's going on, sometimes the doodles get quite expressive because I'm, feeling the emotion and the space in the room.
What is the best doodle that you have ever seen someone do?
Boy, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. There's so many good ones, and each one is reflective of the individual who makes it. So depending on the individual and what their ideas are and how their brain works, there isn't anything less or more than. It's just a process of getting your head to wrap around a topic or a subject or an idea. So I don't really have a favorite or a best one I've ever seen. I like them all. I like to see how people think, and that's shown in their drawings.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, what is the best doodle that you've ever done?
Oh boy. When I teach, occasionally, depending on the style of teaching I'm doing, you end up with several series of the same idea, and you just play with those ideas. And it's always intriguing to me to listen to music and put that doodle in there, because different music will give you different designs depending on the kind of music you're listening to. If it's like hard rock and roll that's really loud and obnoxious, I'm stabbing the paper. If it's something soothing like Mozart, then it's more of a flow. So a lot depends on what you're hearing. Your brain is registering all those sounds and then creating a line or an idea that you're reproducing on paper, at least in my opinion.
Okay. People doodle that you know of.
I think everyone does. If you've got something in your hand to write with, and that's getting less and less of the case as we go to technology, right? And there are iPad and phone apps that let you doodle online. But as far as holding a piece of paper and a pencil, that's becoming less and less real in time because everyone is on a technical device now, in my opinion. Not everyone has a technical device, but those who do are on that more so than doodling on paper. Unless I've given you a piece of paper, you're probably not doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you gave me an idea for another question.
Sure.
Which doodles do you think are better? The doodles on tablets and that stuff, or paper doodles?
I still like holding a tool, but then I'm old school, right? I would say that from a generational standpoint, you're going to find more young people today working on a tablet, although I don't know if they'll doodle. There's a lot of cool apps out there. But for me personally and my generation, if you're using a piece of paper and a pencil, you're drawing. Either the actual drawing of a word, which is like a doodle, because you're creating shapes that create words or messages. So yeah, it's a toss-up. I think that I have played with the different apps online with a stylus, and it's not the same as holding the pencil in your hand, right? And holding the marker or holding the tool and making the mark. There's something satisfying about that, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're in class and you're taking notes, do you find yourself doodling on the sides?
Yeah.
Mostly when I'm in meetings and listening to people talk, that's when I do it. And I just take notes and then do little drawings. If it's like a lag time where there's just opinions going back and forth, then I do the doodles in between, waiting for more information to come out in the meeting itself.
What doodle do you doodle the most?
I doodle mainly cats. And I doodle them on canvas, on lined paper. I mean, I draw random little swirlies all the time in my notebooks while I'm taking notes, and if there's a pause, then I'll just draw something related to the topic.
Okay.
I know my parents get really irritated when they have me read the grocery list because I'll doodle little items of what we're supposed to be getting, and it's very amusing.
How do you feel about doodles?
I really like to doodle, as I mean, it gives you a brief idea of what you actually want to draw, and sometimes that basic little sketch can mean everything in a piece of artwork.
How do you feel about the people who doodle?
Well, if it's inappropriate, I don't think that they should doodle on things that they do, but they do anyways. I mean, otherwise, if it's constructive and artistic, then I really like it. And I know sometimes my friends draw little pineapples and smiley faces in my sketchbook when I'm not looking, and I always find it amusing when I go through like things from middle school that I find I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when my friend did that.
Which kind of doodling do you prefer? Doodling on paper or doodling on technological things?
Well, I recently started doing digital art, and I honestly prefer traditional, but I have a lot more options with digital, so I'm not really picky about that.
What is the greatest doodle that you have seen someone else do?
Oh, I've seen someone do a 5-minute sketch of a dragon, and that was really cool, and I completely envy them because I can't draw dragons very well. I can, but I have to try like immensely for hours.
Do you think that people who are doodling are thinking?
I think some doodling is completely mindless sometimes, and you just do it out of habit. But there are other times where, yeah, it is planned, and you need to think about it. Every art I've ever done is always starting with a basic sketch. I mean, even if it's in my mind, it's a basic sketch.
What's the best doodle that you have ever done?
Oof, that's a hard one. Honestly, when I do little chibi cats, those are very good, and they're very simple, very quick to do. I mean, and they turn out so adorable too. I mean, I keep a lot of my doodles. So.
What is the funniest doodle that you've ever seen someone do?
Oh, well, I know myself. I took like this little funny clip from Look at My Horse, and I doodled it. And it was just funny because it got my friends to laugh, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that part. So,
Well, thank you for your time.
thanks.
So, how do you feel about doodles?
I like doodles as long as the person doing the doodling is doing their work also. Okay, I have no problem with doodles. I think they're kind of cool.
Okay. How do you feel about the people who doodle?
Oh, I think it's fun. I think I've seen over the years that doodling helps some students pay attention. It's a good way to keep their focus is by drawing or doodling. Okay?
Okay. Do you doodle?
I do. I tend to doodle when I'm on the phone talking to somebody. I know it's going to be a long time. I start drawing little figures. I don't doodle animals and stuff because I can't do them. So I do shapes, you know, like squares or circles or triangles, things like that.
What do you doodle the most?
The most, really, it would be probably shapes or spirals. I like to do a spiral.
How many people do you know that doodle?
I would say when I see kids in class, probably if I'm in a class of, say, 20 kids, I see 7 or 8 that are really doodling, you know. So I think it's a pretty high percentage, a third of the kids, maybe, a third of people I know doodle, yeah.
Okay. What is the greatest doodle you have ever seen someone do so far? Is it perhaps
I
this
was
one?
going to say, that one was pretty good. That elephant is pretty impressive. I don't know how they got all that detail on the elephant. And to be honest, I really don't even know who did that doodle. One of the students did it and left it. I think it doesn't have a name, does it? Yeah, so I think it's one of the twins, but I'm not sure. I love your doodles. You do a lot of good doodles. You're a perfectionist at doodling.
What is the funniest doodle that you have ever seen someone do?
I think some of yours are funny. I think you try to make them funny, and they're very good. I can't remember specifically what animal or what it looks like. I love your manatee when you doodle the manatee and the whales. I think those are, I don't know if they're funny, but I think they're fun, for sure.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. What is the most colorful doodle you have ever seen?
Okay, well, I had a student, and she graduated last year, and she didn't doodle as much, but she did all her notes in different colors. Everything was in different colors. And so when she did doodle, she had a colored pen, and she was doodling in color on her page. But her notes and her doodling were gorgeous because she just had an entire set of like gel pens, and that's what she used, and it was really cool. Yeah, she did a neat job. I saw a really nice doodle yesterday in English class. A girl was doing beautiful flowers with just pencil, though, not colors. Yeah.
So, do you think you would prefer the old-fashioned doodling with like pencils and colored pencils and stuff like that, or technological doodling?
Oh, I'm not quite sure. What is technological doodling? On the computer? Drawing on the computer?
Yeah, when they have like, there's a bunch of apps that people have made
Oh.
on the computer, like sketchbook.com.
Oh, I didn't even know about
you
that.
have like your phone and one of those like tappy
Yeah,
pencil phone
right.
things, and you draw with that.
I'd rather see the hand doodling for kids, just doing paper on your own, pencil to your own paper. Because I think then if you make mistakes, it looks more realistic than be done on the computer. I like to see, some people are so artistic. I used to have a kid that drew the hands all the time and drew roses, and he was amazing. Yeah, I like just the old style on the paper pencil. Yeah.
Okay.